South Carolina is a great place to live and retire in. So if you'd like to move to South Carolina and you'd like to become a homeowner here, we'll talk about the process, what it involves, who you need to talk to, and ultimately what you need to do to prepare for your home purchase. So you don't want to miss this video. So when you're buying a house in South Carolina, there are 3 phases that you need to move through. The first phase is the planning phase, where you get all your ducks in a row. Then you move on to the second phase, where you shop for a home and look for ideal home candidates. And then lastly, you have the closing phase, where it all ties together and you become a homeowner. So in the first phase, when you're planning your move, you want to think about your finances. When you're thinking about your finances, you'll want to consider how much money you're making every month and how much you're spending, and also how much you would like to save up to put down on your new home. So when you're looking at your budget, make sure you're comfortable with the balance between how much you're making right now and how much you're spending. And this is the point of ultimate transparency, where you see where you might want to make some changes. You might find that you're spending a little too much on Amazon purchases, for example. So start to think about how much you would like your monthly payment to be. And what's the limit on how much you want to pay? And don't forget to factor in the HOA payment if you're looking for a community with more amenities. Now, after you've determined how much you want to pay every month on your mortgage payment, then you'll want to get pre-approved with a mortgage lender. If you don't already have a go-to lender, feel free to send me a call or text and I can connect you with one. Now, why is it important to get pre-approved? Well, first of all, you need to know and have it verified that you can get a mortgage. Your lender is also going to tell you which loan type might be best for your situation. For example, if you're a veteran, you can get 0% down from a VA loan. If you're a first-time home buyer, you can put as little as 3.5% down using an FHA loan. And on USDA loans, for example, you can get a 0% down loan. So you don't put anything down. And the typical conventional loan can give you a mortgage for 5% down. And there are other types of loans that you may not have heard about. For example, there's the doctor's loan. If you are a new physician, or even nurses can get the doctor's loan. So you get an idea of how much your monthly payment is going to be after your mortgage, the taxes, the estimated fees when you speak to a lender. And you'll also know how much you need to put down to make sure that your payment fits within your monthly budget. So it's a great idea to talk to a lender if you're wanting to buy within the next 3 to 6 months. So once you get with a lender and you get pre-approved, then you can start thinking about what kind of house do you want? Which city do you want to live in? What part of town do you want to live in? Do you want more amenities? Or do you want a community that doesn't have an HOA? Maybe you're looking for a pre-existing home, or maybe you want something that's new construction. Think about what things are absolute non-negotiable needs for you. And think about what things would be nice to have, but aren't totally necessary for you. So I would recommend getting with your spouse or your partner, and you both sit down with your own sheet of paper. Do this exercise separately, so that you can find out what your needs are and what your spouse's needs are. So spend a few minutes on that, then you guys can come back together and decide which things are non-negotiables for you and which things you're okay to compromise on. An example of a need might be you need 3 bedrooms, or maybe you need just 1 bedroom that's downstairs. Another need might be how much do you need to pay for your monthly mortgage payment? That sounds like a non-negotiable to me, right? What's the limit of how much you want to pay every month? Or another example might be your husband absolutely needs a detached garage because he needs his own space and he needs a man cave. I've had that too. So find out what's really important for you, and it's going to be different for everyone. You might want an updated kitchen, or you might want amenities like a community pool or a playground. And also keep in mind that you're not going to always get 100% of everything you want. You know, if we lived in a perfect world, that would be great. But as a rule of thumb, we aim for 80% of what you're looking for. So think about what's important to you. And remember that we're also in a seller's market right now. And honestly, I don't see any sign of that changing. So there will be buyer competition out there. So that's another reason to think about what's the most important for you. And also know that this list is going to evolve over time. Sometimes you'll see a house and you see a feature on it that you love and it turns into a need, or it turns into a want. Or maybe you look at another house that has everything you need, but you realize that that's not really what you wanted. So keep an open in mind throughout this process. Now, once you have your wants and needs list together, you're going to want to plan your exit. So if you're currently living with your parents, in my opinion, that's the best situation because you don't have a lease to worry about and you probably have a lot of money saved up. So if that's you, great job. But if you're like most people, if you're renting right now, you're going to have to make a decision on how you will exit your lease. So you might decide to have your lease expire and time that with the closing of your next home. Or maybe you want to pay your landlord that extra fee to just buy out your lease. Or you can also have the lease overlap with your new mortgage for a month or two. That's going to cost a little extra money as well. But here's a pro tip. Your first mortgage payment comes on the first of the first full month that you've lived in the home. I know that sounds a little confusing, so I'm going to give you an example. So let's say you're closing on February 14. Your next mortgage payment will not be until April 1st. You won't have to make a payment for March because that's included when you close. If you already own a home, decide whether you want to rent that home or to sell it. Because if you sell it, then you can use the equity towards the purchase of your next home. Now, most people I talk to when they reach out to me, they typically don't want to rent because it's a lot of work. You still have to think about your house in another state if you're from out of town. So a lot of people opt to just sell their first home and then move into the next home. And you can also use that for a larger down payment on your home. Now, if you don't have a go-to real estate agent that you usually work with, just reach out to me and I can refer you to a great agent in your area. And remember that there's a fee when you work with a real estate agent to sell your home. It's typically 5 to 6%. However, there is no extra fee when you work with an agent to help you buy your home. So let's say you buy a new home from a home builder. That builder already has the realtor's fee in their contract. And if you're buying a pre-existing home from a seller, that seller has already decided the fee with their listing broker. So that's already been predetermined. Now, once you've decided to either exit your lease or sell your home, then you want to reach out to your real estate agent that will help you buy. If you're in the Charleston, Summerville, or James Island areas, I can definitely represent you here. I'm in the Low Country, so I can help you out there. But if you're looking in another part of South Carolina, like Greenville is a popular place, and Columbia is also another popular place that people are moving to, I can refer you to some great partner agents. So just give me a shout if you want to work with me or my partner agents. So make sure you have a realtor representing you who can help you negotiate the contract, negotiate the down payment, and negotiate the repairs when you need them. And that's where I come in. My name's Kristyn Garcia. I was born and raised in Charleston, and I work with my mom, Nona Garcia. And we would love to help you make a move here. Our information is in the description below, so just give me a call or text or email anytime and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Now, the main benefit of having me represent you is not the fact that we have access to off-market homes somewhere, although sometimes we do find that, but the main benefit to working with me is that I will fight for your best interest when we're negotiating with the builder or the seller on the other side. We can help you understand the contracts so you know what you're getting into, and we do our best to protect you throughout the process. We help you navigate any surprises that might pop up. So once you've connected with your real estate agent, now comes the fun part. We get to explore homes. That's right. Now we get to look at homes. So now you have your budget, you have your needs and wants list, and hopefully you've narrowed down your desired area in South Carolina. Now what we do next is help you find a list of homes to tour. We'll tell you how realistic your list is and how realistic your budget is in that area. And we can also set you up to receive notifications whenever a new home pops up in your area that fits your criteria. We also have an app that you can download onto your phone and search homes from there. This is especially important if you're interested in buying a new construction home. So it's important to know when new properties come up, especially if you're interested in buying a new construction home and you want a specific plan in a specific neighborhood. So when it comes to new construction, builders don't typically include all of their upcoming inventory on their website, and their prices are often different from the quoted prices on their site. So it can get a little bit confusing, and that's where I come in. I make sure that we stay in contact with the sales agent and that the sales agent lets us know when your specific home is coming up. So as a real estate agent, another thing that I have access to exclusively is what's called the MLS, which stands for the Multiple Listing Service. The MLS is basically like Zillow on steroids. So when you're scrolling through Zillow, the homes there are also taken from the MLS. So Zillow takes the data from the MLS and there's a delay. So you don't get the most updated home information. Like, I've had people send me home listings from Zillow that were no longer available, and only I could see that through the MLS, because Zillow takes an hour or two, maybe a few hours to update the most recent information. So I'm gonna send you a list to take a look at, but also take a look at homes online that are realistically in your price range. Ignore everything else that's outside of your price range, because at this point, it's just kind of wasting time and energy. And time is of the essence. Look in the areas that you want to be in and be specific. So if you want to move to Summerville, for example, do you want to be in the part of Summerville that's closer to downtown Summerville, or would you like to be a little further out in more of the rural areas? Or if you want to be in the Summers Corner community, which subsection do you want to be in? Which home plan do you want? Do you want a specific lot? Do you want a corner lot, or do you want a lot with a pond view? Specific lots like that are going to cost extra. If you're visiting from out of town, make sure to drive around those neighborhoods to get a good feel for them and see what's nearby. Now, once you've looked at some of these neighborhoods and looked at some of the lists of homes, you're going to make a smaller list of homes that you want to tour. So the process of touring homes is going to look different depending on if you want a pre-existing home or a new construction home. So let's start with the pre-existing homes, or the pre-owned homes. If you're interested in buying a new construction home, feel free to skip to the next part in the video. Now, for the pre-existing homes, get together a list of 3 to 5 homes that you want to look at. We narrow it to 5 or less homes to help you avoid getting confused. It makes it easier to decide what you like and what you don't like about each home. So after that, we have a rolling top 3. So once we do that and we narrow it down to the one home, then congratulations. Now it's time to make an offer. The South Carolina contract for pre-existing homes allows you to make an offer based on the following things. Number 1 is price, terms, closing date, contingencies like a financing contingency, for example, and depending on the market conditions, you can also ask for money towards closing costs, or you can ask for a home warranty. You can ask for additional items too, like the fridge. If you want their patio furniture, you can ask for that. I've even had clients ask for a pool table and a hot tub. So that's where you can get creative. So you make the initial offer and you send it to the seller. And at that point, it's up to the seller to either accept it with no changes, or they can decline it, or they can counter your offer. So after some back and forth, hopefully the seller will accept your offer. Then it's time to do the due diligence. On the contract, we're gonna have a period of due diligence where we have professionals check out the property and make sure that it's up to our standards. So we have the home inspector inspect the property, and then we negotiate any repairs that come from that inspection list. So either you have some repairs done, or you could ask for a credit instead of those repairs, or you can just accept it knowing that it needs those repairs too. And that's done through a document called the repair addendum. So once you come to an agreement with the seller on the repair addendum, then your mortgage lender schedules the home appraisal. The home appraisal is where a real estate appraiser comes to the house and they look through the house and determine the fair market value of that home. So it basically makes sure that you and your mortgage lender are paying a fair price for the home. Once the home appraises, then great. It's typically smooth sailing until closing. Closing will be about 30 to 45 days from the time of contract ratification, or also known as contract acceptance. And that is the process for buying a pre-existing home in a nutshell. So let's move on to how to buy a new construction home. So first, you're gonna tour homes in the new build communities that you're interested in. And because the prices online are often different than the final prices, double check that they're in your price range. Now, you're gonna typically pick your top 1 or 2 communities and schedule a time with your realtor to tour those communities. If you have 4 to 5 communities in mind, schedule them for the second day, because keep in mind that it takes longer to tour these communities because builders typically have multiple models and multiple plans for you to walk through. So you're going to find yourself walking through a few different homes within that community. So once you find the specific house or plan that you like in that community, ask the builder if they have that plan or that house available within your timeline. If they're a larger builder, then typically they're going to have some inventory available for you to buy. Also remember to ask about incentives or lower rates that they might be offering. Some builders offer money towards closing. I've seen anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 or more towards closing. I've also seen incentives of up to $50,000, which is pretty crazy because they were selling the same plan for a price that was $50,000 higher. And in a lot of cases, they might also have access to lower rates that are 1 to even 2% lower than the average market rate. And this is super important because your mortgage payment could actually be lower with a new build than a pre-owned home, and you can take that to the bank. Those details vary by builder, by community, and even by the time of year. Some of my clients have gotten great deals, like up to $50,000 in incentives because they closed before the builder's fiscal year end. So ask the agent for those details and they will connect you with their preferred lender partner. But I would also recommend getting pre-approved with another lender. That way you can compare your options and make sure you're getting the best deal. Once your finances are in order, then you're going to want to look at the purchase contract very closely with a real estate attorney. If you don't already have a real estate attorney, I can connect you. And it's important to do that because these contracts were written by the builder and there's not much room for negotiation. So it's important that you understand their contracts. And once you're ready and you've understood the contract, you're going to sign that contract and put your earnest money down on that home. By putting your earnest money down, that basically claims that the house is going to be yours. So then over the next few weeks, you're going to continue to communicate with the lender and the closing attorney, and you're going to get them the necessary documents that they need to close on the home. And then 1 week before closing, the builder is going to schedule a new home orientation with you and your realtor. And that's where they show you how to properly care for your home, how to activate the warranties that come with your appliances, how to extend the warranties of major appliances like your HVAC, for example. Then the builder makes sure that the subcontractors finish all those touch-ups and all the repairs that need to be done before closing. Then 1 business day before closing, you're going to walk through that home again and make sure that everything was done correctly. So the first time you look through it is called the new homeowner orientation, and then when you walk through it, it's called the final walkthrough. Then the following business day after the final walkthrough, that's when you get to close. So that's when you show up to the attorney's office and you sign all the documents, and boom, that house is now yours, and you're now a homeowner. Now, either way, if you're buying a pre-existing home or you're buying a new construction home, you'll want to avoid these mistakes. One mistake you never want to do while you're under contract is to make large purchases before you close. So don't buy a new car before you close. Don't co-sign on any loans. Don't start buying furniture and putting it on your credit cards. Wait until after you close to buy your furniture. Don't open another credit card. And please do not quit your job before you close. Okay, basically don't do anything to cause your financial status to change, because that could potentially keep you from closing on your home. If you want to quit your job, do that after you close. It'll also benefit you to know that South Carolina is a little different than other states. South Carolina is known for having lower taxes than other states. For example, the property tax rates are just lower here. We have things like the homestead exemption for seniors. There are tax exemptions for military personnel. And you can also receive tax credits for energy efficient features like solar panels, for example. But one thing you don't want to forget about will depend on where in South Carolina you're moving to. If you're buying a home in the upstate, like in Greenville, you're not gonna have to worry about this. I'm talking about flood insurance. Flood insurance is important in Charleston because we're on the coast and we're right at sea level. So if you're buying a home in Charleston or Summerville or Johns Island or James Island, make sure you have the proper flood insurance for your flood zone. And if you don't know about the different flood zones and the risk they carry, then you're gonna wanna watch this video here. And if you have any other real estate questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. My info is in the description below, and I'll talk to you soon.